Holy crap. There.
Hey guys, it's gonna
Oh,
be a short one. That's the COVIDs.
wow,
So
you sound rough.
yeah, it feels great. Um, so uh, yeah, uh, ton of fun. I'll try and go through everything we got last time, everything that we did at Denver, what we saw, what we did, and what's coming up. So it's gonna be real quick. I don't feel fantastic even in the slightest. Um, probably a much smaller space as well. Oh, so since we had to put out a new one, well,
Two new ones.
yeah, two new ones. So we'll see. Mm. Yeah, Twitter Face has been rugging everybody. It seems like can't even mm, get them to hold anytime we schedule anything anymore. So
Yeah, the scheduled ones don't seem to work.
not at all, and I have no clue why. Um, I'm gonna probably try and mess with it in a little bit. Um, um, very quickly. Oh, oh man. So, anyways, um, shoot. So Denver was great. We got so much done there, and it was wild. We were basically just running from person to person and event, a side event to a side event, um, working to get the investors and the funding and everything else kind of lined up, which sucks because we're doing all the follow up this week. And of course, this is how I sound and how I feel. So terrible is the end answer there. But we did get a whole bunch of them lined up, and we've been doing all our follow ups, and they're pretty excited. I think the general feedback was, "This is the thing that's needed in the space." We're like, "Yep, we think so as well." So, uh, so yeah, so it's needed in the space. Um, we do have some big things coming. Fiat onboarding and offboarding is on its way. Hopefully, we have that at least in testing by the weekend. Um, we'll have everybody's airdrop claims all updated as well. Now, the thing about the Fiat onboarding and offboarding, or onboarding and on ramping, off ramping, whatever you want to call it. Look, it's going to be very dependent on your jurisdiction, your bank, all of that. But they do support 200 countries. So hopefully that's most of you. Your banks are probably going to be your issue, but this paves our way for our cards, so that you can spend natively in and out of your wallet, essentially having those bank accounts associated. So it's a pretty big one that's on its way. We also, if you haven't checked, we rolled out our referrals links. So make a profile, get your referrals, start sending those out. After you get 10, we officially do our full launch. You'll get your free trading. And then if those 10 spend $250 in volume, you can get free training for like a year to life. And so, and that one's actually probably going to end up being very limited, right? So it'll be like, first 100 and then so on and so forth all the way down the line. So anyways, that's a pretty neat one. So get those referral links out so that you can get that free trading. And the more that you're trading on the platform right now, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, there could be some benefits in the future. So you could definitely, earn some things by doing that.
Use the damn swap if you plan on using it in the future.
Yeah. Even if you're just swapping back and forth between stable coins or swapping two stable coins, right? I highly recommend that you move over to a layer 2 solution or a sidechain solution like Binance or Polygon or Arbitrum. Actually, probably Polygon right now. Arbitrum nodes and RPCs have been a little weird as of late, and so is pulling the data for it. We have a marketing partner coming on board with a service that we use. It's going to help push this out even farther. And they're doing us some intros to some of their larger humans that are invested in their project. So we'll be working through that over the next probably 2 to 3 weeks. And then the next really cool piece that kind of gets to come in is that along with the fiat onboarding and on-ramping and off-ramping, we've also been working through optimizing the swap even more. We realized that you guys are seeing a higher price. You may or may not be paying a higher price when it comes through. We had, what do you want to call it? We had done this to ensure that you would get an increased block space and to help your transactions go through. And unfortunately, we can't show you the actual price it'll cost because that's all calculated via your wallets. So anyways, we're trying to optimize that so you can get a more realistic price when you see it pop through. But that's a slow process. A bunch of degens trading stuff with all sorts of smart contract shenanigans in it, and makes calculating gas very challenging. And unfortunately, I'm not Uniswap with $100 million. They can put 17 engineers on this to solve it. So we've been solving it little by little. We also are updating and have updated the max buttons for native coins. And that's really important because what was happening before is you guys were pressing max and it was trying to send your entire balance. And well, you guys need gas money. So kind of is what it is for all of that. So we will that'll get actually updated like today. Went through and done a whole lot of testing with that. Yeah. And also getting better gas. We just saw a major spike in gas prices, if anybody didn't know, on ETH. And I noticed that it has caused a few of our swaps to still be pending, which sucks.
Hey, Aaron, I don't know if you want to touch on the Silvergate stuff at all from yesterday, too.
We can definitely hit on that.
I know there were some questions circulating yesterday that I saw not as much in our main chat, but in a couple other places about what was kind of going on with that and what that meant for
my
the
goodness.
market.
So we were actually supposed to have a meeting set up with some of the execs over at Silvergate. And obviously that didn't happen, and now I guess we kind of know why. Silvergate's going to shut their business down, it looks like, which is not wonderful. It's really interesting for the industry because they are. Sorry, guys, I am like real tired, like not obviously all here. Silvergate has significant, or USDC and Circle has significant exposure to Silvergate. So we're going to find out what that means. So Silvergate's SEN, which is the Silvergate Exchange Network, which handled a shit ton of all of the like exchange stuff that happens like on a ton of these different exchanges. They were kind of like the go-to for onboarding and on-ramping and off-ramping for a lot of these exchanges. One second, guys. Sorry, didn't want to gob it in the mic. But I mean, I think the fortunate part of this is that a lot of large exchanges already saw the writing on the wall and it started their off-ramping, which is pretty cool. So they'd already started doing what, like we do on our swap, which is setting fallbacks, setting redundancies, and getting all of that there. So that's pretty huge that they were already looking at that. And I mean, realistically, for the industry, that's what you have to do. It's what we do for our swap. If we can't find, a route that's like natively on our network that's going to aggregate you and get you a better price, we've now set up fallbacks straight to Uniswap, right? So even if we can't aggregate it through multiple liquidity sources, we're going to get you there. And that's the same thing centralized exchanges are now doing with all of their shenanigans with these on-rampers and off-rampers. They're aggregating these solutions, which is awesome, right? Realistically, we can't have these single points of failure as an industry. It's too new. It's too very, I don't know what the word here is. Too many single points of failure, and we're too new to be able to like depend on any one providers to be able to do this because they're not being transparent. So we don't know what their leverage is. We don't know how bad they are because they don't all operate on chain. So by spreading out, your risk profiles and, only having exposure, then did I drop off for you guys?
You're good.
Okay. Sorry. I got
You cut out for a second.
Yeah. Really, Twitter, let me do this shit on my computer or even my iPad, please. All that happened was I got a phone call, it just kicks me right out. It's like, come on, guys. How have you not solved this? So, anyways, right, if you're a founder, you're another company in crypto, relying on one piece of data, relying on one single swap, relying on one liquidity source, it's just not going to end you well.
I lost you there. There you
so,
are.
Speaking of that, just yesterday we added Uniswap's universal router in there, which was a large pain in the butt. So if you're going to be going through that, you're going to notice there's a new approval method. And for certain tokens that have what's called permit to authorization in them, the approval will be gasless. And also on the other piece, once you approve via permit to, which is really cool, it kind of locks away your approval, for lack of a better way to put it, into the permit to contract, which means that for the future, when you go to approve, all the approvals will be gasless, but they're also locked to a certain time frame, meaning that you aren't actually approving forever. Just kind of is a really neat piece. We're really hoping that more tokens will take on this approval method because it's just a way better user experience. Like, none of us want to pay approval costs or have approvals everywhere. So we integrated that, and then we reconfigured all the gas calculations. We went through a ton of different transactions looking at the difference between gas sent and gas used, and then re-optimized our gas calculations for that. So that should reduce failures immensely. But again, right, unless you need to be on the Ethereum network, which, don't get me wrong, I'm a big Ethereum maxi, go to an L2, especially if you're trading blue chips, right? You can sit there and trade Bitcoin, trade wrap Bitcoin, right? And you're getting exposure to that value. You can trade Matic, you can trade all of those, which is pretty important to be able to do that. So it's a better experience on the L2s. We'll be adding in probably come on, another phone call. I know it's coming through on my computer. Whoever wants me to get hold of me, really like just really wants to, they can wait.
Leave me alone.
Like, come on. So major gas improvements, major liquidity aggregation improvements. And I'm like, real sorry if you've had a failed transaction. We've noticed a few new trends in the scam market.
I'm not sure. I lost you for a second. I'm mad.
We've noticed a few new trends in the scams, and we're working to integrate those in. So be real careful, guys. Like, really, really careful out there. Especially noticing some on the Arbitrum side, and noticing some on those same scams now bleeding into the Ethereum side. So we're working hard to get those identified automatically in the scanner. It's pretty unique. It's a real interesting way that they're doing it. Essentially, they're assigning a private address when they build the contract, which is interesting. And then that address can transfer as many tokens as it wants, regardless if it has tokens, which is kind of wild. But they hide it in there really, really well. And they name it something like Tax Wallet or something like that. That was the one I just found yesterday. So working with us and some of the other data and security teams that we use and work with, left and right, to find that and get that out there so that you guys can see it. But if you're not trading on those, right, I highly recommend go have the better experience on the L2. We literally just in the last 30 minutes watched a spike to 200 Gwei. So pay attention. We'll also be adding the ability for you to add what's called a flash RPC, so you can send private transactions that don't get front run all the time. So those are some of the kind of the updates of what's coming. We are working through all the airdrop stuff. We're still getting people coming in, and then we will have a big road push as we move forward. Excuse me, with all of this. I've just been trying to recover pretty immensely right now. I got my ETH Denver POAP, I like to say, with my little positive COVID test. And this wasn't like the fun COVID either. Not that any of them are, but like, I've been vaccinated, but I stopped getting my boosters, so I don't know if that did it or if I just happened to get the shit strain. Because, like, I've had it twice now, and both other times, one I found by accident, the other one I found because I got RSV. So, I don't know. But Eat Denver's had a lot coming out of it, like a whole lot that came out of it. It was pretty epic. There's a lot of people working on these wallet solutions, things to make the experience better, right? It's kind of the same thing we're doing, right? We're trying to make our experience better for you all, right? So you can trade easier. So you'll continue to see some UI UX improvements as well. But there's a lot of people working on that at the wallet level, which is going to be game changing, especially with our onboarding and offboarding pieces. So it's a whole new world that's coming, and this next set of humans that get onboarded into crypto are gonna be way luckier, right? Because everything that we've learned, for those of us that are already in the space, we're building the products that we wished we'd had. And so they're not going to have to deal with a lot of those growing pains that we had to go through. Right? Everything. So, kind of spoiled brats. We're going to be sitting there going, oh, I remember having to load networks manually into MetaMask. And they're going to be like, what do you mean? I just go and click and I'm there. But congratulations on being early, folks. I've been writing through the token utility and tokenomics pieces. So hopefully within the next 2 weeks, I'll have a nice, pretty final version for everybody on how the token works, how it plays into everything, and its different use cases. So, oh man, I don't know how y'all are listening to me right now. I am like so crabby at the moment. So crabby. Oh, but yeah, it is. If you have the opportunity to go to one of these conventions, you should go. They are a game changer. You learn so much more about what's happening in the industry. Like, people talk about wanting to get the alpha. This is where you get the alpha. This is where you find where the best projects are, what the newest projects are, what the industry is looking at, what's going to be there moving forward. Whether you're trying to figure out what the next thing for Avalanche is going to be, what the next new blockchain is going to be, how are people doing sharding, what's the fastest stuff. So, like, these are where the real alpha is. This is how you find it. You show up at these things. Because, by the time you hear about it from anybody else, it's too late. I mean, literally a number of the partners that we use and collaborators that we're getting ready to work with, like, this is where we found them. And then you network and you follow through with all these people, and this is how you get like the latest and greatest and the coolest stuff. So I highly recommend them. The next one will be in Austin that I'll be going to. It's called Consensus. We went last year. It was probably one of those valuable ones. So if you have the opportunity, like, definitely go. You don't even have to go to the actual show or event. All the side events are just plenty good. So, somebody said I'm cutting out in one of the side chats. So, I apologize, gents and ladies, for that piece. There was a lot of conversation around ZK. That was a huge conversation. These zero knowledge proofs and zero knowledge rollups. A lot of really interesting ideas there on how to do these things. They're awesome. They're efficient. I'm not a fan of the ones that tout them as the privacy piece, but some people want that, some people don't. But pretty great conversation overall. Actually, a ton of great conversations, a ton of good meetings with investors, with some venture capital, some private equity firms. Riley and I were there. And joke was we were just speed dating with all of them. So there's still people putting money into the industry, and they're all looking, all trying to find the latest and greatest. And it was really neat to see some of the projects that people are building in some of the different spaces. Everything from new blockchains all the way up to new consumer user products. Ultimately, me being a crypto maxi, the big stuff for me that was super important that I liked seeing was all the stuff that was making the user experience, the user interface better. Like that was huge. That was huge, huge, huge. So we will probably start working with some of these different groups to integrate them to make the onboarding and offboarding process easier into and out of crypto, and also like getting a wallet and everything else, and be able to manage all your wallets. I think most of our users have anywhere between at least 2 wallets that they use, and then not counting myself, right, up to like 10 to 12. So, and I don't count the guy with 70 wallets because hashtag dev life. So, yeah, I don't really do that one. But I do love it, and I've been doing a lot more cross-chain stuff and looking at a lot of projects cross-chain and a lot of things that we can integrate in with, and stuff a little less degen-y than I'm sure some of you are used to. Things with like leveraged yield bearing, so that you can get yield on leverage staking, which is pretty cool. Been heavily talking with some of those founders of some of those new protocols that are coming out. I just want to verify that they're safe and they're going to be there for you all. So one of the big conversations that kept coming up was how do we do debt on chain? Because blockchain doesn't like debt. Doesn't like it one bit. But our world unfortunately runs on debt. We buy debt, we sell debt, we leverage debt for other assets. So to replace and make a more transparent financial system on chain, you have to figure that out. So great conversations on that. And then conversations with guys about Flashbots and mempool access for MEV stuff and protecting people from MEV. That was phenomenal. So we're going to be making it so that you can natively add in an Ethereum RPC, essentially private mempool network, to get through for those of you that want to trade like zero tax stuff and not be front run, right? Like just small things like that, each step of the consumer protections piece. So pretty rad. Great technology. I've been using the RPC for a little bit now. I quite like it. And it especially works really well for if you get a transaction stuck and you need to get it unstuck. I don't know if anybody else has been having the issue of not being able to cancel a transaction. So I don't know if anybody else can hear me. If you can't, give me a little react, a little thumbs up, a heart, something like that. I just got a little notice that our host is having issues connecting. Thank you, Twitter, for rugging us once again. So, all right. I don't think anybody can hear me. If you can hear me, send me a DM or say something in the telegrams and let me know. Because if not, So, okay. I don't think. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we got some of the candy. Anyways, either way, I'm gonna probably. Okay, thank you, Justin. Thanks, Jax and T. Awesome. I apologize for cutting this one probably a little shorter than normal. I am really feeling like complete doggy poo, and I really want to be more excited.